Hello there! Spiral Abyss patch 2.2 is out and I'm about to bring you another guide on how to clear Abyss with skills and techniques. Let's take a look at the enemy info first. First chamber is another straightforward chamber. The Pyro Agent and Nobushi shouldn't be too much of a problem for most of us anyways, so deal with them with however you like. Second half will be featuring the return of the Hydro Mimics. Now don't be intimidated by them, as they are not that hellish as they were in previous Spiral Abyss cycle before. Second chamber first half only has a Mago Kenki. Mago Kenki shouldn't be too big of an issue if you played the game long enough. Most of the fight with Mago Kenki is to be mechanically good with it, because you will want to dodge every single one of his nuke attacks. The second half for chamber 2 are some Fatuis and treasure hoarders, not a big issue as long as you have groupers like Sucrose, Animal Traveler, Venti or Kazuha. Third chamber are all Legos, jeez. Let's just keep in mind what's on this chamber and I'll explain about their mechanics later when we get there. So team comp, I went with a Rosara and Xiangling melt team in the first half and Sucrose Taser in the second half. I highly recommend you to bring Beidou in the cycle of Abyss because there are a lot of enemies for Beidou's burst to bounce between enemies. Now don't be fooled by this low rarity team as most of my 4-star characters are at full constellations. And 3 of the characters I chose here uses 5-star weapons, so keep that in mind if you can't pass the DPS check. With that said, let's jump into the run itself. First chamber, the fight itself is very straightforward, so I will not be doing any commentary in here. But I do want to include the whole process of me going through the chamber, so you will know that I did not reset the whole floor. Second chamber. This chamber is another straightforward one with Mago Kenki standing up from its prostration pose. Use this window of opportunity to recharge your team's elemental burst, so you have them ready by the time he is able to take damage. Second half of this chamber has these boulders. These fatuis are so obnoxious, they are too annoying to deal with the moment they do anything. So do your utmost best to stun lock the mid-season mage and use a grouper skill to group these treasure holders up. You don't want them to be causing elemental reactions against you. In the third chamber, 3 Legos will spawn on the left, front and right of the arena. Now keep this in mind because I will show you how to group them together. When you start the challenge, walk towards the back of the arena and make sure the Ruin Hunter follows you. If you run too far, it will do this. Don't worry if the other 2 Legos don't follow you because they'll end up taking collateral damage while you're bursting down the Ruin Hunter. But also be careful because these guys deal tons of damage and tons of damage and tons of damage. Remember when I told you to run backwards when you start the chamber? Well, this is to save time from running towards the back and be ready to dismantle them ASAP. Watch out for these Lego shooters attacks because they retreat after they do this attack. You can see I deliberately position myself facing the other Lego shooters so that they group themselves together through AI manipulation. You can see that I let one of them get away from me, but that's okay because I have enough damage, so keep that in mind as well. The second half is a bit different because the Lego shooters are in the first wave of lineup. Follow what I did in the first half and these Lego shooters shouldn't pose too much problem to you. The second wave of enemies are pretty stationary, so there shouldn't be too much issue here except that you have to actively iframe the Geo Shockwave that spawns occasionally. And that comes to the end of my video. I hope this guide video has been helpful in any way so you can get juicy 36 stars and a pathetic extra 50 Primo Gems. Hope you enjoyed the video and I'll see you next time. As usual, collector builds will be shown at the end of the video.